Speaker Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, of course, will hold her weekly news conference this morning. And of course, she'll likely speak on the four officers who provided that gripping testimony during the January 6th Select Committee hearing yesterday. And of course, that took place on Capitol Hill. And that is where we find our correspondent, Bofta Yimam, this morning. Good morning, Bofta. Bofta, I got two questions for you this morning. First off, any idea on when the next hearing is? And secondly, I know you've been following this closely, but what did you learn about the insurrection through the officer stories?
Oh, good morning, Mike. Well, first off, it's possible that the next hearing could take place next month. No word yet on who might be called as a witness. Now, regarding Tuesday's testimony, look, while we've known that the rioters attacked police with makeshift weapons and hand-to-hand combat and chemical irritants, the four officers who shared their stories provided a deeper lens yesterday into the near-death experiences they endured. We heard firsthand, Mike, the degree of racist slurs hurled by the mob and the lasting mental and physical trauma that they have suffered these past several months. They were candid, emotional, and shared painful details about the violent assault. Congressman Benny Thompson began the hearing by setting a serious tone, saying the committee will be guided by facts. Michael Fanone with the Metropolitan Police Department said he was beaten and tased multiple times and rescued by some in the crowd only after he pleaded to their humanity, saying, "I have kids." He suffered a heart attack and serious injuries. Officer Harry Dunn also testified and spoke of the racial slurs and profanity the mob hurled at him.
I feel like I went to hell and back to protect them and the people in this room. But too many are now telling me that hell doesn't exist or that hell actually wasn't that bad. The indifference shown to my colleagues is disgraceful.
One woman in a pink MAGA shirt yelled, "You hear that, guys? It's for Joe Biden." Then the crowd, perhaps around 20 people, joined in screaming, "Boo!" No one had ever called me a while wearing the uniform of a Capitol Police officer. In the days following the attempted insurrection, other black officers shared with me their own stories of racial abuse on January 6th. One officer told me he had never, and in his entire 40 years of life, been called a to his face, and that streak ended on January 6th.
I thought the officers spoke clearly about their experiences and also as Americans about their hope for our future as a country. So it was a very moving experience for all of us.
Do you think this will have any effect on the members who've been sort of unwilling to recognize?
You'd have to ask them, but certainly for the people of our country who watch this, they understand what happened and what the stakes are.
I think this was a really important opportunity to get some facts on the table and to hear directly from heroes who defended us that day. Also to begin to set out the task ahead of us and to really be able to do this in a nonpartisan fashion, which is clearly the spirit that every member of this committee has and with which we'll do our job.
And if people want to get petty, that's fine. I think that reflects more on people than it does on the situation at hand. This is a historic moment, and this is a democracy-defending moment. And no matter the consequences, me and I know Liz will stand and defend democracy.
Now, the hearing lasted more than 3 hours, and the officers encouraged the committee to dig deeper. After the hearing, Chairman Thompson said the probe could move swiftly with subpoenas soon. Mike.
Both the nation, the world saw what happened on January 6th. Many people injured, people died on that day. Yet we talked about the Republicans, the GOP still downplaying this situation. They didn't even really want to investigate this situation. So what are the officers saying about that, about the GOP, the ones that have dismissed this violence on January 6th?
Right. Many of them have been whitewashing what happened on January 6th. And the officer statements yesterday show they feel betrayed by the Republicans who have done that after going through what they went through, both mentally and emotionally. They spoke about the impact on their department and how some officers have quietly resigned since January 6th. They talked about how they were severely outnumbered, had no idea about the degree or size of the breach before they arrived that day, and to now have folks who are downplaying it, calling it disgraceful. The investigation, we do know, as it moves forward, will look into security failures, Trump's role, and conversations, Mike, that took place at the White House. Meanwhile, Capitol Police are still hoping for more funding to help with resources, and they'll be looking to everyone in Congress, Mike, to help support that.
Still a long way to go, a lot to learn. Like you said, this could go all the way until next year into the midterm. We'll see how it all turns out. Bofta Yimam with the latest from Capitol Hill. We appreciate you.